Suspended and demoted over a destructive night out. Virgin vowing to come back stronger and promising to look after staff and frequent flyers as investors line up. Elective surgery returns, restrictions easing as the Prime Minister signals the worst may be over. A dark day on our roads with freeway mayhem after a tragic pile-up and police hunting a hit-run driver as a cyclist fights for life. North Korea's dictator reported to be gravely ill and brain dead after heart surgery. And a young couple's surprise delivery, baby Cooper's unexpected arrival.
Live from Melbourne, 7 News with Peter Mitchell starts now.
Good evening. The Western Bulldogs have fined Lockie Hunter $5,000 and suspended him for 4 matches over his wild night. He stepped down as vice-captain, speaking of his regret at getting behind the wheel while over the limit.
After 5 days in the doghouse, finally an apology.
I'm here to take full responsibility for what I did and the damages that I caused. It's never responsible to get behind the wheel after you've had a drink.
The Bulldogs' boozy night of destruction has come at a huge cost. He's lost the vice-captaincy, been hit with a 4-game suspension and copped a $5,000 fine with a further $15,000 suspended.
I've obviously lost the respect of a lot of people over this time. And there's not a lot I can do about that right now.
After an argument with his fiancée, Hunter ploughed his SUV into 4 parked cars. He convinced 19-year-old teammate Bailey Smith to drive him away from the scene before police arrived.
We are extremely disappointed that when the accident occurred, Lockie did not choose to avail himself of the support and advice services the club provides to our players in these situations.
Smith won't be punished by the club, but fellow teammate Billy Gowers was fined $5,000 for drinking with Hunter after the crash.
I let down a lot of people here, my fiancée and my family first, the leadership group in the club, my teammates, Billy and Bailey for dragging them into a situation that they should have never been in.
As part of his punishment, Hunter must also undertake an alcohol education program and complete community service.
I will have that date circled in my calendar when I'm allowed to get back out there with my teammates.
Cassie Zervos, 7 News.
Virgin Australia is promising to emerge from troubled times as a stronger airline after going into voluntary administration. 10 investors are showing interest in helping to restructure the business, with staff and frequent flyers now being told they won't lose out.
Coming to work today was tough for many Virgin Australia employees at Melbourne Airport. Their jobs now in the hands of administrators.
It was a bit of a surreal feeling, but, you know, collapse is a very strong word.
And for now, it's not a collapse. Airline bosses and its new administrators want to keep Virgin flying.
We're not planning any change to the operations of the business. Paul and his leadership team will continue to run and be in control of the business.
A business that ran out of money weeks sooner than expected. Virgin's famous founder sent a message of support, adding,
"In most countries, federal governments have stepped in this unprecedented crisis for aviation to help their airlines. Sadly, that has not happened in Australia."
It's not happening in Europe either. Sir Richard also asking the British government to bail out Virgin Atlantic, even offering his Caribbean island as collateral.
Richard's portfolio has hotels, cruise lines and airlines, so you can understand that Richard is hurting. But he's doing everything he possibly can to help us get through this.
Tickets will be honoured on a reduced flight schedule, but the frequent flyer points of 10 million Virgin Velocity members are tonight frozen. It's unclear what happens to them. It's also unclear what becomes of sponsorships, including the AFL.
Flying high today is just one of the planes that has carried the 18 AFL teams on over 300 Virgin flights this season.
Industry insiders say Virgin's move from low budget to full service was a bad move.
It will get restructured, but I think it will be leaner, slimmer. Unfortunately, I think it will probably employ less people.
Across the industry, pain. New figures from Melbourne Airport show passenger numbers down 97% on April last year. Unions still want the federal government to fund Virgin's immediate future.
Are you really going to sit back and let this airline be picked apart by bottom feeders in a voluntary administration?
But the government says it won't bail out an airline that is less than 9% Australian-owned.
This is not liquidation. This is not Ansett. This is not the end of the airline.
If I go on welfare, well then Scott Morrison's going to be paying for me to feed my kids anyway. I'd rather be working for my money.
And Blake Johnson is at Melbourne Airport tonight. Blake, how long will it take to secure Virgin's future?
Peter, administrators say it'll take 2 to 3 months to complete that restructure, during which time no redundancies are planned and wages will continue to be paid. For those who have been laid off and are on the JobKeeper program, that arrangement will stay in place. Pete?
Thanks, Blake. Blake Johnson reporting. Australians are being told we've reached a turning point in the fight against coronavirus, with the Prime Minister declaring the nation is already on the road back to recovery. We'll take a major step next week when elective surgery will resume as restrictions are wound back.
For a nation in isolation, wondering when we'll reach a turning point, some hope.
I think we already have reached a turning point.
And with new cases low and remaining low, now on a course towards easing restrictions.
Thanks to Australians, we are on the road back.
The first cautious step, a return of elective surgery, resuming from next week, allowing all Category 2 procedures such as IVF, hip and knee replacements, cataracts and all surgeries on children.
Some people think elective surgery sounds like it's something that's not important. It is incredibly important.
It is to Victoria Constantopoulos. Her daughter Gia can now go back on the waiting list for skull surgery. That will allow her brain more room to grow.
Gives Gia the chance to get this over with.
The Prime Minister also wanting restrictions at aged care homes eased to allow families greater access, and rejecting privacy concerns over the government's COVID tracker app.
The Commonwealth will have no access to that data.
Figures today reveal 780,000 Australians lost their jobs in just the first 2 weeks of this lockdown. The Reserve Bank Governor describing the pulverising blow to our economy as a once-in-a-century contraction. Predicting the economy to shrink by 6%, unemployment to hit 10% and negative inflation for the first time since the 1960s.
I would ask that we keep in mind that this period will pass.
But that road out will be bumpy. Mark Riley, 7 News.
Victoria's petrol prices are tumbling to new lows of less than 80 cents a litre. They're falling as global oil prices come down, plunging below zero for the first time in history, meaning producers are paying to have it taken off their hands.
Like days of old, petrol prices across the city sat well below $1 today.
It's unbelievable. It makes me feel young again.
I'm running a business and any cost saving I can get is a bonus, you know.
It's very low and I think a lot of people are happy with that.
Unleaded was the cheapest in the city's north and southeast. A staggering 78.9 cents at Strathmore, 83.7 at Costco Moorabbin and 84.7 in Broadmeadows. It's part of a downward trend experts anticipate will continue for some time. Less than a month ago, the average price of petrol was $1.30, and it's fallen consistently each week to around 99 cents yesterday.
It's hard to say whether it's actually following a new trend or it's just part of the downward cycle, but it certainly is following the fall in wholesale prices at the moment.
More oil is being supplied than can be stored at the moment, pushing the wholesale price below zero for the first time in history. Tough times for oil producers, but good news at home. While the wholesale price of petrol is set to continue to fall, not all those savings will be passed on to drivers. Big retailers will likely pocket some of the difference, but prices could still drop as low as 80 cents by June.
It clearly takes some time, but does eventually flow through to the consumer.
Jodie Lee, 7 News.
There's evidence tonight that even police are confused about coronavirus restrictions. A leaked email has revealed how an inspector ordered officers to stop arresting repeat offenders, but Force Command has since stepped in to tell her she's wrong.
18-year-old Jack Atwell was finally arrested on Saturday in Caroline Springs after breaching restrictions 4 times in 2 weeks. But the next day, 7 News can reveal the local police inspector wrote to her members saying no more arrests. Until further notice, no other persons are to be remanded for persistent COVID-19 related breaches. There's no explanation given, and late today an official police statement said there is no directive preventing arrest and people will continue to be remanded where appropriate. But the police approach has been inconsistent. Initially hardline, officers have now eased off, issuing 93 fines over the past 24 hours.
Our police officers are using lots more discretion.
And he's defended allowing those on bail to stop reporting to police stations, saying the practice causes 40,000 non-essential trips a month. Now they'll be visited by officers or use Skype to show they're at home.
This doesn't mean they get a free kick by any stage of the game. In fact, the accountability regime that they're now going to be adhering to is going to be probably more stringent, you could argue.
With so many more now at home, the lockdown has sparked an increase in domestic violence, and so police have now set up a new task force with officers visiting known victims and offenders at home even before an offence is reported.
We have seen declines in other crimes during this period, but family violence is not going to reduce during this period.
But the toughest restrictions may be eased within 3 weeks. With just 7 new cases today, Victoria's curve has not only flattened, it's going down. Laurel Irving, 7 News.
And there's a new push to get children back into the classroom sooner. Tom Chadwick has the latest, and Tom, other states are leading the way.
That's right, Mitch. New South Wales today announced a return to school plan which involves children making a staggered return to classrooms from as early as May. It would start with 1 day a week and build from there. The opposition here says that we should be doing the same.
Chief Medical Officer nationally has said there's not great risk in schools and there's not great risk of transmission with sensible social distancing and with sensible measures.
Now, regardless, the government says it has no plans to change its view that children should stay at home unless they have no choice but to go to school. Mitch?
Tom Chadwick at Toorak, thank you. Nearly 50 crew members are finally being allowed to leave the Ruby Princess cruise ship. Authorities remain under immense pressure to ensure they're taken off the ship with greater care than her passengers were last month.
It's not how people usually feel about getting off a cruise. But it is when the ship is the Ruby Princess. For dozens of crew locked in their cabins since March, the news they'd been hoping for finally arrived last night.
Tonight is a special night, a happy night. Tonight is our last night together as one big united family.
Today, there was no hiding their joy.
Oh my God, I never thought the day would come.
With the army lending a hand, the Ruby Slippers moved from boat to bus. Under police escort, these buses will now take those 49 people to a hotel in the city. From there, they'll need to wait for flights back to their respective countries. One of the crew members released today is COVID positive. They'll move into isolation on land.
We're not just letting 1,000 people off into the state of New South Wales without a plan.
More than 1,000 remain on the ship, many at the mercy of diplomatic negotiations.
People need to have visas, and if you're found without a visa, then you go to Villawood.
Police have confirmed more crew will disembark the virus ship tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you for your help. Thank you to everybody.
In Port Kembla, Peter Fegan, 7 News.
A cyclist is fighting for life after a hit run at Dandenong. Melina Saris joins us now. Melina, police are still hunting for the driver.
Mitch, the cyclist was struck by a silver Holden Astra and the driver did not stop to help. They are still on the run this evening. The 46-year-old bike rider was left with critical lower body injuries. He's being treated at the Alfred Hospital tonight. This is the silver Holden Astra believed to be involved in the collision. It was captured on security cameras travelling through an intersection near where that crash happened around 1 o'clock this afternoon. Officers also have a partial number number plate from that car. It has the letters WXE in it. The car was last seen travelling westbound on the Princes Highway. Police are urging the driver to come forward. Investigators want to speak with anyone who may have dashcam footage or who may have seen the car in the Dandenong area. Mitch.
Thanks, Melina. Melina Saris reporting. Gridlock returned to Melbourne this morning after a shocking pile-up on the Princes Freeway. A driver died when a car was hit from behind and pushed into the path of two trucks.
4 cars, 2 trucks and 1 fatality on the Princes Freeway at Laverton. Melbourne's first big traffic jam for weeks. Hundreds of drivers stuck.
Some poor person's just driving to work and then that's it, it's all over.
The tragic chain reaction started when a ute crashed into one car, which went into another, pushing it into the path of 2 trucks. One crushed it, the other swerved into a 4th car. The Kia driver died at the scene. Others not injured, but shocked.
It would be horrific for them and will take them a long time to get over it, if at all.
It is a scary thought. It's something that goes through our head. As soon as I heard it was a fatality, you do feel for them.
No, we come to a screaming halt.
This shows the horrific impact. The entire engine of the white Kia has been ripped out and left behind on the freeway as the truck driver desperately tried to stop. Its 2 back wheels came off as well, one lodged under the truck. The police helicopter landed on the freeway, collecting officers to take photos from the air as investigations continued on the ground. Police say it was not part of the freeway where trucks are banned from the right lane. Paul Dowsley, 7 News.
There's growing speculation that North Korean leader Kim Jong-un could be close to death. A US official says the 36-year-old dictator is gravely ill after surgery.
Kim Jong-un 10 days ago, the dictator running his ruling party's committee meeting on coronavirus broadcast on state TV. He had heart surgery the next day. 3 days later, April 15, North Korea's most important holiday, celebrating his late grandfather, and Kim Jong-un was a no-show. Now, American media is reporting Kim Jong-un is in grave danger. One report even saying he's brain dead. There's no official confirmation. The secretive country tightly controls any information about its leader. His father, Kim Jong-il, missed a parade in 2008. It turned out he'd suffered a stroke. South Korea says it has no proof these latest claims about Kim Jong-un are accurate. The world waits to learn the truth about the health of one of the most dangerous leaders on the planet. Mike Amor, 7 News.
Tim Watson joins us now, and Tim, Cricket Australia has come clean on its cash flow crisis.
That's right, Mitch, and for more, let's cross live now to Tom Brown, who spoke to Cricket Australia's chief executive this afternoon. Tom, Kevin Roberts has moved to clear the air.
Timmy has. The stars of the game are anxious over looming big pay cuts. The state cricket associations have been angry over proposed cuts from Cricket Australia. The big question, did cricket squander its cash riches? It's taken 4 days, but the boss of Cricket Australia has explained where all the money went. The coronavirus couldn't have come at a worse time for the sport. We'll hear from him in sport shortly, Tim.
We will. Thanks, Tom. And coming up later in sport, AFL Players Association President Patrick Dangerfield changes his tune on quarantine hubs, which may cause extra angst for expectant dad Steele Sidebottom. Also how 2 Star Saints ganged up on a veteran Demon, and Roger Federer and Andy Murray find a flaw in Rafa's game. All that and more coming up a little later, Mitch.
Good. Thank you very much, Tim. There are big changes on the way for home deliveries. Next, what it means for the parcels and letters that are heading your way. 5 arrests in a dramatic police chase. See how it ended. Also, Harry's explosive text messages to Meghan's dad revealed as the Duchess goes back to work. And later, with coronavirus crunching budgets, the best way to put off paying bills.
Are you ready for takeoff?
Yes, baby.
When you're smiling.
Now that's more like it.
When you're smiling.
That is how you do it.
The whole world smiles with you.
How amazing was that?
You're smiling. The whole world smiles.
Get ready. We're celebrating the extraordinary. Brand new Britain's Got Talent. Wednesday, 7:30 on 7.
ready for any challenge. Battery power, made by Still. Only from your local Still dealer.
A ticket in the MS Dream Home Lottery is more than a chance to win one of two $1.5 million grand prizes. Every ticket sold helps us support thousands of Victorians living with multiple sclerosis. People like Stephen. I struggled a lot with the fact that I looked normal, yet I felt so unwell. MS Limited support means the world to me and my family. You too can make a difference. Get your tickets today.
Join AHM Hospital and Extras Direct and you'll get 6 weeks free. Plus, we'll waive any 2 and 6 month waits on extras. Yay! Whether you're a single, a couple, or a family. It's that simple. That doesn't look very simple. Offer ends June 30. Find out more and join AHM Direct today. AHM, the simple bit.
When life gives you sauciness, Godfrey's gives you cleanliness. Ivac Steam Mop, $59, save $40. Hoover Zenith Stick Vacuum, $299, save $100. Godfrey's Cleanliness.
Right now, lives like Eva's still depend on regular blood donations. To her, they'll always be an essential service, which is why Life Blood Donor Centres are safe and still open. If you're feeling well, book a donation today.
Need a dry shampoo that refreshes and nourishes your hair? Try the new OGX dry shampoo range at Chemist Warehouse. They're infused with your favourite OGX ingredients like renewing argan oil, nourishing coconut milk, volumizing cherry blossom and refreshing green tea. Try OGX Refresh and Renew Argan Oil Dry Shampoo for $9.99 and discover the new OGX styling range at Chemist Warehouse. Live, look, feel fabulous every day at Chemist Warehouse.
Tasty, affordable and delicious. What's for dinner in the next break with Coles?
Australia Post is cutting letter delivery services to cope with online shopping demand. Estelle Griepink is following the story. Estelle, Australia Post says it'll help reduce delays.
Well, Mitch, parcel volumes have almost doubled during the coronavirus lockdown, and that's why they'll be redeploying 2,000 motorbike posties. Online shopping has seen an unprecedented demand for parcels, but letters have gone quite the opposite way. Letters will now be delivered every second weekday instead of every day.
In the last few weeks, we've seen parcels grow by more than 80%, and at the same time, other core services have either halved or been volatile, including letters.
Another change Australia Post is making is getting rid of priority mail because at this point they can't guarantee delivery times. Mitch?
Estelle Griepink at Brunswick, thank you. A wild car chase has ended with the dramatic arrest of 5 people on the Ring Road at Thomastown. Chief Crime Reporter Cameron Bowe is at Broadmeadows Police Station. Cameron, there was a huge police response to this pursuit.
Mitch, it took dozens of police and significant force to bring an end to this pursuit. 5 people were arrested after being dragged out of a smashed up, stolen car on the Ring Road at Edgars Road. 3 females and 2 males were handcuffed at the scene. One of the females was also fitted with a face mask. Now, 2 police vehicles were damaged during this pursuit. A second stolen car had been dumped at the Uni Hill Shopping Centre at Bundoora. Now, it's believed one of the stolen cars had been speeding at up to 170 kilometres per hour during this pursuit. The drama didn't end with the arrests. The Broadmeadows Police Station was put into lockdown not long after they were taken into custody. The bomb squad was called in. It's not related to the pursuit. It's due to a sus package that was dumped at the front entrance of the police station. It's not linked to the pursuit, but it has slowed down the processing of the suspects, Mitch.
Cameron Bowe at Broadmeadows, thank you. Meghan Markle has revealed details of her first post-princess project, making her Disney debut in a new documentary. The Sussexes are trying to settle into life in Los Angeles, but the headlines that haunted them in the UK appear to be following the couple.
After quitting as an actress, then as a royal, Meghan Markle's back in Hollywood and back on TV.
I hope that when people see this film, they realise how connected we all are.
A much anticipated interview filmed last year but released today to promote her voiceover role in Disney's documentary Elephant. The Gentle Giant's a big interest of Meghan's since she and Prince Harry campaigned to save wild elephants during a trip to Africa last year. While Meghan Markle is now part of the Disney family, turmoil remains in her real family. Court documents have revealed explosive text messages sent from Prince Harry to her father in the lead up to their royal wedding. 48 hours after Thomas Markle was exposed for staging paparazzi shots, Harry wrote, "Really need to speak to you. Going public will only make the situation worse. Speaking to the press will backfire. Trust me, Tom. Only we can help you, as we've been trying from day one." The Duchess missed a call from her dad at 5 a.m. on her wedding day and hasn't heard from him since. She's now suing a British tabloid for printing a letter she sent to address the rift. In Hollywood, Amelia Brace, 7 News.
Back home, and Jane Bunn joins us now for an early look at the weather. Jane, it was quite a chilly start to the day.
Mitch, it was as much as 5 degrees below average at first this morning, as clear skies and light winds let the temperature plummet. Some spots had thick fog out there too. The city dropped to 8.5, but further out from the high-rise area it was colder. Avalon and Yarra Glen were both just 4.5, Werribee a chilly 6. There were parts of the day where the cloud thickened overhead. That was generally around lunchtime, but it didn't last, with lots of sunshine returning this afternoon. That made for pleasant conditions for much of the day. The city's top was 19.6. Most suburbs were also 19 or 20. We've been watching an area of wet weather across Western Victoria, looking quite impressive at times. I'll show you what to expect next after sport, Mitch.
Thanks, Jane. We'll see you then. A drive-through revolution is taking off in Melbourne. Next, why shopping from your car is picking up a gear. Lockdown protesters in the United States get support from the president. Tony Abbott hits back at sensational claims in Malcolm Turnbull's tell-all book. Also, how thieves used a garage door remote to steal a family pet.
Welcome to my humble abode.
These two mates have almost moved out of home.
You bought a place a few streets from Mum?
Yeah.
So he won't need a laundry.
George, this isn't your house. Why are you doing this?
I couldn't imagine anyone else that deserves it.
Aww. I love people with a good heart.
He's got a house, but there's one thing he's missing.
Very large for one person. Gonna have to get some friends. Or get married.
But when they transform his home, will all his dreams come true?
It's amazing. You like it, Mum?
House Rules High Stakes. Tonight, 7:30 on 7.
Hi everyone, it's Tassia and Gracia here. So for today, what's for dinner recipe, Tassia and I are going to be creating one of our favorite dishes, Hainanese chicken rice.
It is a poached chicken dish served with seasoned rice and 2 of our favorite sauces. So Gracia, let's get cooking.
The first thing we're going to do is going to poach the whole chicken.
These are the vegetables that we're going to put in to make our liquid stock. So I've got some carrots, I'm going to pop that in. I got some brown onion, half of a brown onion. And I got some celery in the fridge, so I'm going to pop that in as well. And don't forget, you need to put some ginger. And we're going to put spring onion.
Now that our stock pot is boiling,
oh my god, Gracia, it smells so good.
We're going to add our 1 whole chicken and we're going to drop it in. And be sure to cover it all with the water. And we're gonna pop the lid back on and turn the heat down to low.
While our chicken is cooking, we're gonna be making our 2 favorite sauces.
So for the chili sauce, Tassia, we're gonna add some ginger. It's okay that the skin is on. We're gonna also be adding some garlic.
Some bird-eye chili.
Wow. And big red chili as well. We're gonna blitz it up to form a rough paste. So to make the second sauce, got half a cup of spring onion here, and we're just gonna grate about 2 tablespoons of ginger. So I've gone ahead and heat up about half a cup of vegetable oil. And now to finish, all we have to do.
Oh my god, that looks so good.
And we're gonna season with a bit of chicken salt, a pinch of table salt, and we're just gonna mix.
The chicken has been cooked for 45 minutes. We got some 3 tablespoons of soy sauce and 2 teaspoons of sesame oil, and gently pour it into the poached chicken. To make the seasoned rice, we got 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil, 20 grams of chopped garlic, 10 grams of ginger, and 30 grams of shallots, 2 cups of jasmine rice, and about 3 cups of the liquid chicken stock we made earlier. We're gonna cook until all the water is absorbed, and we're gonna turn the heat low and cook it for another 8 minutes, and it's ready.
So there you have it, our what's for dinner, Hainanese chicken rice, the perfect isolation cooking.
So for more recipe like this, head to coles.com.au.
Happy cooking!
Coles has reintroduced its home delivery and click and collect service, which was put on hold when the COVID-19 crisis hit. It's part of a growing trend for retailers to stay in business by staying online.
You can't order fries or a burger, but at Telstra you can pick up a phone or pay a bill without leaving the driver's seat.
It gives us another avenue to keep our people employed and engaged.
If you can do takeaway or a service like this, why wouldn't you?
Click and collect is booming at Bunnings and Officeworks, and from tomorrow the service resumes at Coles. The grocery giant had limited click and collect and home delivery to vulnerable customers, but now it's back for everyone. And Uber has teamed up with Pet Barn to offer a new store-to-door service.
This is going to give them an opportunity to stay safe within their own home.
Get through it, and that's what we're advising back to our retailers. Take the opportunity to start thinking about what the other side looks like, but in doing that, make sure that you can get through this particular period as well.
Myer closed its stores last month, but is using the lockdown as a chance to refocus, and it seems to be paying off. Over Easter, online sales were up almost 800%. The federal government will release retail sales figures for March tomorrow. They'll reveal the true impact of COVID-19. The sector is bracing for the worst, but it sees light at the end of the tunnel.
We're optimistic that we come out of this phase sooner rather than later.
Georgia Commons-Solly, 7 News.
Donald Trump has defended protesters demanding an end to the coronavirus lockdown. The US president claims some governors have gone too far with their restrictions. In more than a dozen states, demonstrators have ignored social distancing rules and gathered together to call for businesses to be allowed to reopen. Tony Abbott has slammed Malcolm Turnbull's new book, which claims Mr Abbott had a truly bizarre relationship with his former Chief of Staff. Mr Turnbull criticises many senior figures in the current government, but takes particular aim at the man he toppled for the top job.
Two constants in Tony Abbott's life: morning bike rides and war with Malcolm Turnbull.
I am aware of some pretty odious comments.
The odour from this, his rival's account of the 2-year-long Abbott government.
Erratic and flaky.
Worse, says Malcolm Turnbull, dangerous on national security and led not by the then PM but his Chief of Staff, Peter Credlin. He worshipped and feared her. She treated him with disdain.
She was a fine thinker, a great organiser, and she was a trusted colleague.
In its 700 pages, the Turnbull account has room to take down others, not least Finance Minister Matthias Cormann, for stepping out here in August 2018 to declare he was backing Turnbull rival Peter Dutton for PM.
Malcolm has presented his version of history.
The Turnbull view: he would easily have survived the August turmoil if Cormann had not betrayed me in the shocking way he did.
It substantially differs from my very clear recollection of events.
Others likely feel the same way.
I'm just going to remain focused on the actual bigger picture, and that's dealing with the coronavirus.
Tim Lester, 7 News.
Thieves have used a stolen remote to stage a dog napping. They broke into a car to steal the garage door control, drove to a Delahaye home and took off with the family pet.
After stealing a garage remote from a car parked at the shops, these thieves headed to their victim's home to open the door on a callous crime.
As the door lifted, a family's little dog wandered free, but not for long, scooped up and driven away. Thankfully found after being dumped, now the hunt is on for the thieves. And good news for a Kensington family after their Labrador puppy was stolen from their backyard on Friday.
Good girl, good girl.
Now Daisy's back where she belongs after a woman found her wandering some streets away.
The lady said that the dog didn't have a collar. I was pretty sure it was going to be Daisy, but I, didn't want to get too excited too soon. But as soon as I rocked up at the house and she opened the door and the little face looked out at me, she jumped all over me and I knew straight away it was her.
The family with a message for anyone thinking of buying a puppy.
There is a big problem out there with dogs being stolen and being sold on the black market. And if people aren't buying these dogs, then that will just cease to happen.
Tegan Dolling, 7 News.
Very cute, Daisy. There are new developments in the race to find a treatment for COVID-19. Next, how Australians are signing up to stop coronavirus. Police claim a breakthrough over a driveway shooting. And the teenagers with no idea they were about to become parents.
Who ordered brand new Mrs. Brown's Boys?
It was me.
Wednesday, the long-awaited special.
Do not speak to me.
She's annoyed with me. She says I'm too nosy.
She said that.
No, I read it in her diary.
Brand new Mrs. Brown's Boys.
Hello.
Wednesday, 9 o'clock on 7.
Their doors might be closing, but they're always open on eBay. Stay home, shop online and help support 40,000 Aussie retailers.
A lot of us are spending more time at home.
Ow.
Using a lot more electricity and internet. Unfortunately, iSelect can't help with your naked partner walking past your big presentation. But we could help shrink those household bills. Now's the time to compare, select and save with iSelect on 13 19 20.
Goodie.
I missed it. Look at it.
Employees of Budget Direct. Over 20 years, you have become the country's most award-winning insurer, providing top-notch cover for more than 3 million Australians.
It's a start. 22 million to go. Will you help people get a better deal on their car insurance?
Will you fight to save Australians on their home insurance? Oh, Karen. She loves saving people money.
Who are you?
Proudly saving Australians on insurance for 20 years. Budget Direct. Insurance solved.
Want to relieve your sensitivity and keep your gums healthy? Try new Sensodyne Sensitivity and Gum Toothpaste from Chemist Warehouse. With twice daily brushing, Sensodyne Sensitivity and Gum Toothpaste provides relief from tooth sensitivity and helps to maintain healthy gums. Right now at Chemist Warehouse, Sensodyne Sensitivity and Gum Original and Extra Fresh flavours are $7.99 each. Trust Sensodyne, the #1 brand for sensitive teeth. Live, look, feel well at Chemist Warehouse.
Trials of drugs to treat COVID-19 are about to start in more than 70 Australian hospitals after lab tests showed promising results. An anti-malarial drug and a treatment for HIV will be given to some patients while the world waits for a breakthrough vaccine.
Hydroxychloroquine is a known treatment for malaria, but when it comes to COVID-19, there are questions.
Firstly, does the drug work
And secondly, what is its safety profile?
More than 2,000 Australians and New Zealanders will be given the drug alongside lopinavir, an HIV medication, in randomised testing. Signs in overseas laboratories are encouraging.
They're not super potent drugs, but they definitely have activity.
Every patient I've prescribed it to has been very, very ill, and within 8 to 12 hours, they were basically symptom-free.
The drug was hailed as a potential miracle COVID cure by Donald Trump after experiments in France.
I feel good about it.
But the French tests were small and flawed.
The test was performed on a very few number of people. The patient knew they were giving this medicine.
Brazil and drug giant Novartis are, among others, pursuing hydroxychloroquine as a potential COVID killer. Results will be shared across the globe, with monitoring also of potential side effects that the virus might induce, and that includes heart toxicity. The medication will also be given to frontline health workers who do not have COVID-19 to see if it can work as prevention, even better than cure. Robert Ovadia, 7 News.
There's been a breakthrough in the investigation into a dramatic shooting at Wendouree. A 49-year-old has been charged with attempted murder after a man was shot in the face. The suspect was arrested in Melton last night. He also faces firearms charges. The 25-year-old victim has serious facial injuries. 2 teenagers have had the shock of their lives, unexpectedly becoming parents. What was thought to be a tummy bug turned out to be a baby, arriving in the shower.
1 week ago, Amber Smith thought she had gastro. This week, the 18-year-old is a mum.
I felt this very big tense in my stomach, and then the next second there was water coming out everywhere.
She screamed and called out to 20-year-old Blairton.
It scared me. I've never heard Amber scream like that.
He saw her head, so then we started pushing.
10 minutes later, surprise, Cooper Allen Robert Woods was born in the shower.
My instant reaction was what the
complete shock. I had no idea.
The past 9 months felt relatively normal.
I just had a tiny increase in my stomach, so I thought I was just eating too much.
Turns out she was eating for 2. Cooper weighed just over 3 kilograms. Young love, learning a new kind of love.
I have an idea of what I'm doing, so I'm just going with what I think I know.
I thought my life is over, but then an hour or 2 later, staring into his eyes, everything was clear that it was meant to be.
No time for a baby shower, but a whole life ahead. Jessica Mummy, 7 News.
Household budgets are about to take another hit. Power bills are soaring as more Australians work from home and isolate. But there's a new way to stop the cash sting. We'll tell you how to turn on the deals a little later in 7 News. Tim Watson's next with sport. And Tim, we have fresh details on the AFL's comeback plan.
Mitch, coming up, we'll cross live for the latest, plus why the AFL's hub idea may cause havoc for a star pie and his unborn baby. Also, how a couple of Saints played a devilish trick on a demon. Cricket Australia comes clean on the cash flow crisis. And Rafa breaks the internet, catching up with his biggest rivals.
We're all spending so much time in our homes, but this is the chance to really make your home everything you've always wanted it to be.
Oh!
All the inspiration you need is right here on House Rules.
The decorating is great.
Just beautiful.
While these Aussies are doing it for each other, you could be doing it for yourselves. Together, as a family, get inspired by House Rules. Tonight, 7:30 on 7.
If you're in business in Australia, right now you're facing one of your toughest challenges. It's not business as usual, and it's hard to know where to turn. Business Australia can help you manage your responsibilities to your employees, look after their health and well-being, and assist with strategies to maintain and sustain your business. We've been helping Australian businesses through thick and thin for 194 years, and we're here for you now. For free advice and support, visit businessaustralia.com.
Donate some of your data to kids who need it most and power their potential.
As coronavirus continues, it's vital that we support our older Australians. So keep in contact regularly with older neighbours, friends or family. Set them up to use technology, then plan a regular time to connect. Cook a meal and leave it at their front door, or offer to run errands. You could drop a note in their mailbox or chat over the fence. Together, we can help stop the spread and stay healthy. To find out more, visit australia.gov.au. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
Home Timber and Hardware is serious about keeping our community safe. So whether you're staying at home or building someone else's, Home Timber and Hardware is here to help. So stay safe and ask us about our local delivery and pickup options today at Home Timber and Hardware.
A lot has changed over the last few months, but globally, Allianz Group's commitment to serving its 100 million customers around the world hasn't. As part of this global network, Allianz Australia has been supporting our customers through uncertainty and change for over 100 years. So you can rely on us to be here for you now and in the future to ensure what matters most. Because our support doesn't stop here.
This Sports Report brought to you by Allianz.
Welcome back. AFL fans will have to be patient as the league works through its complex comeback plan. Live to Chief Football reporter Mark Stevens. And Stevo, footy's return could be some time away.
It looks that way, Tim. The AFL, of course, were talking about making plans, perhaps next week releasing some details, of course, a return to training and a return to play date. Certainly that had been speculated. Multiple sources tonight, though, saying that it won't happen next week. A clear pathway by the end of April. Now looking ambitious. Sources say we may have to wait until mid-May, so perhaps another 2 to 3 weeks just for some clarity. So we're all going to have to cool our jets a little bit. AFLPA President Patrick Dangerfield, he's now saying that hubs may be required. He's very supportive now. Of course, he had some doubts a couple of weeks ago. Many hubs in Victoria looming as the way out of this crisis. Now, Pies star certainly supports hubs, but he's also thinking of his family. Still, Sidebottom's open to the idea of hubs.
Yeah, there's only so long I reckon I can be stuck in the house not playing. So I guess I'm open to most ideas that are being thrown around.
But there may be one small hurdle Sidebottom and fiancée Alicia are expecting.
We're about to have our first kid in September, so potentially if I was going to have to be locked away, with the boys around that time would be a difficult time, and probably to have to make the tough call of not playing footy.
The due date would usually be smack bang in the middle of the finals.
September 12th, baby's due, so.
It might work for
it might now. It might be mid-season.
They're increasingly confident at Collingwood that footy's not too far away.
Most Mondays we sort of catch up as a team and like a whole footy club really on Zoom and just get the latest news from whatever's come. But I guess yesterday was more encouraging.
Mark Stevens, 7 News.
They may be from rival AFL clubs, but that hasn't stopped the Jones brothers pushing each other to the limit in lockdown. And they've revealed some AFL players are struggling to find ovals to train on, with local councils stepping in.
It's not easy keeping up with the Joneses. With little brother Zach moving from Sydney to the Saints, Demons midfielder Nathan has a new training partner.
Obviously, different clubs, different running programs, but essentially we can have a kick and do a bit of touch together and a few shots at goal, a bit of banter, so it's good fun.
Nathan is flying despite missing round one with an Achilles injury, and there's no shortage of competition.
It's actually even at the moment. I won the other day, so he owes me a free coffee, but he won't pay up. He's a bit of a tight ass.
The Jones brothers were training at Sandringham's Trevor Barker Oval, but that's now been shut down due to overcrowding.
We snuck in there and council came and said, no, we've had way too many people on here. We've got to try and find any oval you can at the moment.
In between training, Zach has been urging members to stick by the club.
We called some members the other day and they were 100% certain that they were with us, so we're in this together and we'll get through it together.
Zach and Dan Hanbury even tried to trick Nathan into buying a Saints membership.
And he wasn't too happy about it. I was at home doing some some weights in the gym, and I got a call from a private number. And
is this Nate? Yeah. How you going, mate?
Nah, they didn't fool me. I picked it up straight away.
Mate, I know you're an ex-captain of the football club, but we need you to sign up for the Saints, help your brother out.
Not a chance. Nah, it was a good laugh.
Mate, get the moths out of your wallet, put them in there, and sign up for a Saints membership. Hey?
Could you become a Melbourne member?
Nah, no chance.
Sean Sowerby, 7 News.
The boss of Cricket Australia has today hit back at claims his organisation has mismanaged millions. 200 staff have been stood down, with star players on the verge of brutal pay cuts.
Cricket Australia stood down most of its staff, even our national coaches part-time. Anxious players and angry states keen to know where cricket's cash went.
They're very satisfied with the frequency and the transparency of the communication. At the same time, I'm human, and there's no doubt that I'm sure my communication hasn't been perfect.
The CEO was crystal clear today, explaining how cricket's burnt through $175 million in 4 years. Players received an extra $70 million in 2017. Cricket Australia transferring players another $55 million, their retirement fund, in 2018.
We were completely on track with our plan for the year until coronavirus hit.
The sport's been criticised over its share investments, and while that loss is modest,
the return on that $22 million portfolio has been over 50%.
Cricket is planning on a 50% reduction in revenue. Roberts flagging players might have to take preemptive pay cuts above the fall in revenue.
But in the interim, we also need some creative solutions, whatever that means. It doesn't mean disrespecting the current model.
Tom Brown, 7 News.
And he's one of the toughest and most talented players to ever grace the tennis court, but Rafael Nadal has shown he's a mere novice when it comes to technology. Nadal caught up with long-time rivals Roger Federer and Andy Murray on social media, and the results were hilarious.
How are you doing, Candy?
I can only see... Oh, there we go. You're back.
Okay.
How's things?
This Instagram life is... I am going crazy with this, man.
Yeah, it's a bit tricky.
Federer had surgery on his knee in February and says he's happy with his recovery, and I can sympathise with Rafa. I struggle from time to time with technology too, man.
You don't complain to the PMG, do you?
No. I just bring my 5-year-old granddaughter Frankie and she fixes it for me.
Oh, good. Cheerio to Frankie too. Thank you very much, Tim. Households across the country are about to be hit by one of the biggest shocks caused by COVID-19. Power bills are beginning to arrive, showing dramatic increases caused by working from home and isolation. Finding the best power deals is what Simon Downs does for a living, but his latest bill reveals he is not isolated from COVID-19 related costs.
A lot of people are about to open their mailbox and get a nasty shock.
On average, working from home costs $2.78 a day. Lighting, long use of computers, printers, heating and cooling, and using household appliances more often all add up.
You have to talk to your retailer, certainly talk to them about coming up with a payment plan option.
Simon's work has unearthed a new provider, taking on the majors.
This is an energy retailer that is really saying to other retailers, if you try to undercut us on price, we will be cheaper every single time.
With a deal that is named after what is now taboo.
The handshake plan, our intention is to lead price comparison sites.
By always being the lowest.
We've invested heavily in technology to really automate as much as we can.
There is a catch. If you're the type of person who likes face-to-face or over-the-phone customer service, you will miss out on this cheaper deal, which is available only online. Reamped Energy has plans to launch Australia-wide. Steve Titmus, 7 News.
Jane is next with the forecast. Jane, what can we expect tomorrow?
Well, Mitch, the day should begin very differently to how it'll end. I'll have the details next. Good evening. Tonight on the latest from 7 News, more on those restrictions being rolled back this weekend, how they will affect you. Virgin Australia's CEO joins me to discuss the airline's future, and live to London for the Queen's birthday celebrations. That and every breaking development tonight on the latest from 7 News at 10:45.
A long time ago, before we were married, we made a huge mistake. And I've regretted it ever since.
9 months later, you come away?
Wait, hang on.
How long in between you and Mum hooking up was I born?
Who's her dad?
Is Markle my father?
The only way to remove any doubt is to take a paternity test.
But you're my dad.
You'll always be my daughter, no matter what.
Home and Away, this week at 7 on 7.
Can care be better at home?
Someone from Medibank mentioned that there's a chance I can do rehab at home.
I said, oh, how much extra is that going to cost?
And they said, no, you've got it in your hospital cover. It just was fantastic for me.
Employees of Budget Direct, over 20 years, you have become the country's most award-winning insurer, providing top-notch cover for more than 3 million Australians.
It's a start. 22 million to go. Will you help people get a better deal on their car insurance?
Will you fight to save Australians on their home insurance? No, Karen. She loves saving people money.
Who are you?
Proudly saving Australians on insurance for 20 years. Budget Direct. Insurance solved.
With Australian tuned suspension, the Hyundai Tucson is made for it. Even if you're not.
A lot of people have sensitive teeth, but gum health is really important as well. If you've got sensitive teeth, you should be looking for something to help with the sensitivity, but you should also be thinking about, do I need to look after my gums? Using the new Sensodyne Sensitivity and Gum toothpaste not only deals with sensitivity, it also maintains gum health when used twice a day, every day. I think it's fantastic to have a dual action toothpaste. 2 benefits with the one toothpaste. What a great idea.
How safe are those things? Shame.
At Toyota, we're all about your safety. That's why our dealerships and service centres are staying open. Older feeling. Toyota.
Hi, I'm Jo from Westpac, and I'm here to show you how easy it is to set up online banking on your computer. First, type westpac.com.au/register into your browser. Now on this page, select the Register button at the right-hand side of the screen. Next, enter your Westpac card details or your customer ID along with your name and date of birth. You'll find your customer ID on your statement. In some cases, you may be asked some security questions to confirm your identity. You'll need to create a password that you'll use to log back into Westpac online banking. Finally, you'll need to confirm or update your email and mobile number. Perfect. You're all set up. If you need any more information, visit westpac.com.au/register. And above all, please stay safe.
Hello again. We had a cool start to the day, then lots of sunshine let it reach a top of 20. It began on 8.5 in the city and as low as 4.5 in outer suburbs. There was thicker cloud in the middle of the day, then sunshine increased again. Looking further west, and this afternoon we saw an area of showers and rain coming into the southwest and Wimmera, looking impressive on the new radar in Rainbow. It meant that Horsham went from 4 degrees early to 22, then back down to just 15 by 3 p.m. But that rain is dissipating as the cold front that is bringing that wet weather has already peaked back to our west. That is now weakening and sliding down to our south. Then we look west again at yet another front that peaks over the Bight. Here's the area of wet weather in the west of the state. That has pretty much dissipated now, so it is generally dry tonight. There's a bit more to follow tomorrow morning, likely to be drizzle just in the south. The next front arrives on Thursday night. This one makes it a little bit further all the way to Melbourne, but it also weakens and slides so the rain disappears on Friday. These 2 cold fronts won't add up to much. A few millimetres from the Wimmera through Melbourne into Western Gippsland, possibly a few more in the southwest, but there's nothing at all for much of the north and east. That changes on the weekend. A front peaks here on Sunday, spreading rain across much of the state. It is heaviest from the southwest up into the north northeast. Then another one may follow mid-next week. Around the nation tomorrow, and there's not much rain for anyone really. We've got a light shower under gloomy skies in Perth. Hobart, a light shower too, but windy there. Brisbane, Sydney and Canberra, light winds and sunshine. Adelaide looks mostly sunny. To Victoria, morning fog patches in the northwest. Areas of morning drizzle over the southwestern half, then a mix of sunshine and cloud. But the northeastern half, that has sunshine all day. Closer in, and we have a grey morning with areas of drizzle. That's the blue you can see here. Now it dries up early afternoon with increasing sunshine. So it should be much nicer at the end of the day than it was at the start. The city may see drizzle in the morning under cloudy skies. Increasing afternoon sunshine brings a top of 19. To the 8-day outlook, Thursday starts with sunshine. I'm expecting 22, cloud builds later. Then that next front brings us some rain at night, generally 1 to 3 millimetres. That's gone by Friday morning, back to sunshine. And we see that on Saturday as well, cloud builds later. The next wet weather is on Sunday, 19, rain mainly in the morning. Then later on into next week, 17 is the top on Wednesday and some alpine snow. So cloudy, possible drizzle in the morning, then it turns sunny, top of 19, Mitch.
Not too bad at all. Thank you very much indeed, Jane. And that's the way it is this Tuesday, the 21st of April. Thanks for your company. For now, from the 7 News team, good night.